Hey everyone, FLW Pro John Boyles here. I just want to do a quick recap of Lake Martin in Alabama. Um, Finished 69th out of 150, so not great, not horrible. Just kind of middle of the pack. Um, Kind of my whole game plan going into it was to concentrate on spotted bass. You can either go after largemouth or spotted bass. Obviously, the largemouth get bigger, but they don't seem typically as plentiful as a spotted bass in that lake, especially since the introduction of the blueback herring. And the way my year's been going so far, I needed a decent finish, I think, just to kind of get the wheels going back in the right direction. So I really thought I was gonna, just stick with the spots, and hopefully come out of there with a decent finish. I had some opportunities. So, anyways, practice. I spent two days down by the dam, in the clear, for the most part, clear water. Had a few things going. Actually ended up finding some largemouth that I thought were going to play. And then the third day of practice, I only fished about 3/4 of a day because usually we have a day off in between the tournament, or the last practice day in the tournament, and they moved the tournament up because of everything that's going on in the country. So I had to get stuff ready, so I got off the water on day 3. But I fished the dirty water on day 3, and got a lot of bites, caught a few decent ones. So I had a lot of stuff down towards the dam, and then I had some stuff close to takeoff. So I thought, it was a pretty good game plan start. So day 1 of the tournament, I thought, well, I'll start, kind of up by takeoff. Start there first, and then kind of run down towards the dam. The first day I had a limit probably in the first 15 minutes. I mean, this lake is loaded with fish. If you want to go for a good time, go to Lake Martin. I mean, you're going to catch a ton of fish. It really didn't matter where you went. I mean, you caught them. Kind of the one thing working against some of the things I was doing this week was they were dropping the water level. And I had caught some decent spots on some big rock, kind of up shallow. And it seemed as the tournament progressed that bite was kind of going away. And I tend to think is because the water was dropping. But the water temperature when we first got there, I think was 58 roughly. And then at the end of the day, I mean, I saw 70 in the back of one pocket that had some dirty water in it. So there's a lot of stuff going on. Some fish definitely spawning, some largemouth were spawning. So anyways, on day 1 I catch a limit, like that. I go down to the dam area in the clear water, and I really struggled for the most part. Something was different. I'm not certain what it was, if it was the water dropping, but just didn't get near the bites that I was getting in practice down there. I kind of got on this one little deal, and I caught my best fish down there. And then actually I broke 2 off. I know everybody loses them, and those teeth on those fish are super sharp. So I don't know if that was it, but everybody loses them, so that's part of it. But at the end of the day, I only caught like 8-7, and I was really disappointed in that because I really thought I could catch 10 pounds or so, for the most part, pretty easy. So at that point, at the end of the day, I was sitting in 100 and something, I believe. Anyways, not good. But what was good is the weights are so close together. I mean, a few ounces can mean 10 spots. So I knew if I could come back and have a decent day on day 2, I could make a little bit of a comeback. So I really didn't want to switch up my game plan too much because I didn't want to. I mean, I knew there was fish where I was fishing. You know, I just needed to execute a little bit better, and I didn't want to. Without a good limit in the box, I didn't want to just start kind of practice over, and then turn my day one weight into a worse finish than what it was. So day two, I kind of started off in the same little area that I did in day one. I caught a couple pretty quick. Anyway, so I started taking off down the lake, and I noticed there was a few things that were similar banks and stuff to what I was fishing. You know, I was kind of keying on some black shale rock. There's quite a bit of it down there, and it seemed like whenever you got around kind of some of that stuff, you know, they were on it. And you know, so anyways, I'm running down the lake, and I look over and I see this bank, and I'm thinking, oh, that kind of has the same stuff. So I swing on over there, and I think at that point I had 2 in the box. You know, within about 10 minutes I had my limit going down the bank, and then I went a little bit further and I caught like it was about 2 3/4. I mean, it was a pretty good one. And so, you know, that gave me a little bit of confidence. So I start running down the lake again, see another little thing, run over there. I catch a couple 2-pounders. So at this point, you know, I've got probably 9.5, 10 pounds to what my scale said. So well, I'm going to run down and fish the one kind of consistent spot I had down in the clear water, and go down there. There's just an island. I'm going around the island. I throw out there, I get a bite, set the hook, have it on for a second, comes off. God. You know, I just reel it in, fire it back out there, get another bite, set the hook. It's like a 2.5 pound spot. So that called out a 140 something I had in my box, and then kind of go work my way around the island. And I thought, you know, I haven't thrown a Carolina rig all week. It had been in my box from one of my previous tournaments. I grabbed it out, and like the second cast, yeah, I catch like a 2 1/4. So at this point, I had, you know, a little over 11 pounds, and at that point, the wheels started turning in my head. John, you need to go largemouth fishing. You know, if I can catch, you know, 3, 4, 5 pound largemouth, you know, we can really do something at that point. So I fished around the island just a little bit longer, and like I say, this is probably 11:30. I had a 3:30 weigh in. So I decided to go ahead and go largemouth fishing, and I ran a lot of new water. Unfortunately, a lot of the pockets that I tried to run in, that there's either a boat in or a boat coming out. So I did that for probably a couple hours, no success. I saw some up under some docks that were, you know, just kind of in there. You know they're getting ready to spawn soon, just kind of up sunning under the docks, but they weren't big ones. So at that point, I decided to run back, kind of in the area where I caught a couple of good ones up close to takeoff. Run back up there, and I catch 4 or 5, you know, no good ones. And then I kind of come around a little point, throw out there. I catch another one that's about 2 1/4. So and that called like a 160 or 170 something out of my bag. So I think I finished with day 2 with 11 pounds and 13 ounces, which is, you know, a good bag for the most part there. And I ended up finishing 69th in the tournament. Kind of a few baits that I was throwing this week. Really only had 2 key baits. The first one, obviously, is a Kitech. This is a Bite Me Tackle Hunter head. Amazing swim bait head by Bite Me Tackle. Make sure you check them out. Super sharp hook. And I was throwing a 3.8 inch electric shad Kitech. Throwing it on a Denali swim bait lithium rod, and I think I had probably 16 pound test, because the the water wasn't super clear where I was throwing that at. The second bait I was throwing, just a little jackpot head by Bite Me Tackle. Same thing, super sharp hook. You know, when you hook one with this bait, they just don't come off. You know, I had 10-pound braid and a 10-pound leader. Throwing it on an N3 medium heavy spinning rod. Pretty much that was my setup for this week. It was, in general, it was pretty simple. You know, if I had to do it over again, I would probably put a little more emphasis on the largemouth, because I really feel like I missed something there. But on the other hand, I know there's some guys that targeted largemouth that really end up bombing the tournament because they were dropping the water and some of those largemouth left. You know, I told you earlier that I had 3 pockets where I saw multiple largemouth in practice, and I went there day one, and they were all gone. So I'm sure some of the other guys fell into that same boat, that some of that stuff kind of disappeared. But other than that, like I say, it was a decent finish. You know, just I need to get the valuable points, you know, for the end of the year for the points race. So hopefully, you know, our next tournament at Cherokee has been postponed. It's been rescheduled for June now. I was looking forward to going there. I had kind of a lousy tournament there last year, but it was a great fishery, fun fishery. So as of now, our next tournament is the end of April on Lake Hartwell. That's going to be an interesting tournament. I'm looking forward to getting back there. It's a fun fishery as well. If you have any questions, drop a comment below. I'll be happy to go over, you know, anything on my setups, or if you just have any other questions. Anyway, hope you enjoyed the video, and check you later.